For all the conservatives in Ontario who vote for guys like Doug Ford and Pierre Poilievre because they think that they're going to lower immigration numbers, they're not. Doug Ford has been complaining about how long it takes to bring more people into the province because they're ready and willing to work. Caveat, they're ready and willing to work for minimum wage. Because when you put aside the fact that you think all conservatives are racist, at the heart of conservative ideology, when you talk about fiscal conservatism and corporate ideology, the reason that conservatives are pro-immigration is because immigrants are typically willing to work for lower wages than domestic-born Canadians. Which is why, as I said, fundamentally, when you put racism aside, at the heart of conservative ideology is the push to bring in more immigrants. And here is Doug Ford saying just that. And honestly, lowering immigration numbers, lowering the amount of international students at this point, kind of a left-wing issue. Because if the left and the center don't take this on, sooner or later there will be an alt-right push the way that we saw in the States with Trump. This is a real issue in our society, and if we don't address it with a real solution, we are going to get horrible, horrible solutions because guys like Doug Ford are going to keep pushing for mass immigration, international students, temporary foreign workers to keep pushing down wages. Because in his mind, Mr. Businessman over here, low wages means more profits for business, which is good for everybody. That's how Doug Ford sees it. It's very black and white for him. But there can be a leftist compassionate view of things. We shouldn't be bringing people into this country that we do not have space for, that we do not have homes for, that we don't have capacity for. And we definitely should not be bringing these people into our country to make them work minimum wage in jobs that are precarious and make them feel as though they are trapped. We're essentially bringing them here just to give them a horrible way of life so that the rest of us can feel a little more comfortable, with the side effect of that being all of the people who are unable to get minimum wage jobs because they're not willing to work in these horrible working conditions for minimum wage. Because in a true and proper capitalist society, when nobody wants to work a minimum wage job, the wage goes up. Because that's how supply and demand works. But conservative capitalists like Doug Ford only want supply and demand to benefit the side of capitalists, to benefit the side of the people who are making the profit. They don't want the supply and demand to be benefiting the workers, the people who actually supply the work. Because in Doug's mind, that's bad for business. Which is why I keep saying that people on the left and on the center need to have a very nuanced and difficult conversation about immigration, about refugees, about temporary foreign workers. And I am not saying that it is the progressive stance to be against those things. I am saying that we need to be pragmatic about it. Because if we don't deal with it, sooner or later, the alt-right will. And I can guarantee you that none of us are going to like their solution. Just look down south.